So, Sean, there's a little bit of research was published last week, and because of the busy news agenda, I didn't get a chance to share that. But I read this research and I thought of you. It surrounds the damaging nature of irregular sleep patterns. And as a night owl and somebody who has what I would say are regular sleep patterns, I thought you needed to know about this. But I thought we'd start by just asking you, in general, how would you describe your sleep pattern?
In terms of when I sleep, or whether it's good
when,
or
how
bad?
long, where?
I'm not very. My sleep pattern is not very good. I guess I get to bed at about midnight, and I normally get to sleep somewhere between 1:00 and 2:00 in the morning.
Okay.
And then I'm up at about 8:08 when the dog wakes me up. Really,
So we're talking 6 to 7 hours sleep then,
I
depending
reckon
on.
so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's fitful sleep. It's not like deep sleep. That's my concern, I guess.
And in that, between going to bed at midnight and falling asleep, are you on your phone on screens, or are you,
Sometimes
doing some yoga or something? What are you doing?
No yoga. No. I can be on my phone checking the news and what have you. And I've also got a novel that I'm reading. Well, generally I'm involved in a novel, but I don't read that every night. It depends upon how. So I'm doing things.
A bit of screen time then before in that hour or two. Bit of screen time. Oh dear. Right. You're in the sweet spot here, I'm afraid. Okay. So first of all, bit of research. So the Nantong University in China, bless them, they looked at 23,000 adults' data in the US, and these adults recorded their nightly sleep and also had their blood sugar levels measured.
Okay.
And they measured glucose disposal rates, and that's because insulin resistance is a precursor to type 2 diabetes. And in the UK, although this is a US study, so 4 million people suffer from type 2. Okay, so that was the methodology.
Yeah.
And what they discovered was the optimum sleep pattern, and you might want to make a note of this.
I've got my paper ready.
Yeah. if you're not going to doze off, is 7 hours, 18 minutes a night for a healthy sleep, avoiding diabetes. All right?
Yeah. 7 hours, 18 minutes?
Yes.
That's very precise, isn't it?
Well, that's a proper study, 23,000, big sample. In fact, there's a U-shape. There's a U-shaped curve between hours of sleep and blood sugar control.
Right.
And right at the bottom of that U is the 7 hours, 18 minutes.
Okay.
So you can be on the wrong side of it and have too little sleep, or you could be the other side of it and have too much sleep.
Okay.
Which is interesting. And those people who think, right, okay, I've had my 7 or 8 hours. I would say a lot of people say I need 7 hours. But at the weekend, what I'll do is I'll lie in and I'll do a 9 hour. Now that's fine if you've been in sleep deficit during the week, maybe like you, but it's not good if you've already had your 7 hours, 18 minutes and you're topping it up with more. So that too can be counterproductive. And
so you've got to count how much you have during the week and make sure that you don't go over and above what averages out to 7, 18 the night of the week.
Yeah, it's a bit like having an overdraft at the bank. Yeah, if you are overdrawn, you've got to put a bit more in when you can to clear it. Yeah, that's the theory.
And is it only in this survey then, was it only in relation to the effect on diabetes or did
yes, very specific. Most surveys like this are like this, aren't they? Because if you try and measure too many things, it's really difficult. So they were measuring blood sugar rates because in all countries in the world, including China, they're worried about the type 2, often linked to obesity, of course, but they're worried about how type 2 diabetes is becoming more and more prevalent. So lack of sleep, which is more where you probably are, is likely to cause inflammation, high blood pressure, and can introduce stress hormones.
Yeah.
Which can bring on heart disease.
Well, that's encouraging.
Lack of sleep. And so so the conclusion would be too much or too little sleep is not good for you. good to know. And so what you need to practice is what they call now, is a new thing. It's called sleep hygiene.
Okay.
Would you like to know what that is?
I guess I'm going to know. Yeah, you carry on.
You are. Right. Okay. So here's your sleep hygiene recommendations, because we're all worried about you. You need to go to bed at a consistent time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You need to create a wind down routine and significantly reduce your screen use, which in your case might be significant. So you've got to stop scrolling.
So if I read my book, that's fine.
Yeah. Is it a book or a Kindle
book? It's a book. That's a real book. It's not a Kindle book.
Yeah. I don't think it matters, because I don't think a Kindle screen is like a phone screen. It's not as addictive. But yeah. So it's very interesting. But there's a real risk, actually, maybe not in our generation, because we didn't used to have these things, but I can see in the children who are growing up now, and I'd see it with my family, where they have easy access to screens of their own or their parents' screens. I can see that this real risk of digital distraction contributing to declining sleep quality. And people would have normally just thought that'll make you tired, maybe not be good at school, but actually it could be the precursor to type 2 diabetes. So
I'm going to throw a depth charge into
depth charge. Yeah.
Because I've listened to a lot of these sort of surveys about this, that, and the other, normally about health and what have you.
Yeah.
Of these, how many people was it?
23,000.
Yeah. Did they break them down into those people who were overweight before the survey started, or those people who've got an alcohol problem, or those people who eat too much sugar, or those people who don't eat any sugar, or those people who only eat fast food before they started this exercise?
Well, you're obviously very interested in the piece. I do have a link to it, which I'll send you. The summary, the executive summary I've read, doesn't go into that stratification, they call that in research terms. I think they would have done, because with the whole idea with 23,000 respondents is the reason you go for that bigger size is not because you need 23,000. You actually don't to do a study, but you want these different characteristics, gender, age, weight, dietary things, as you were talking about. But I'm sure it does. But what they'll be looking for in the survey, because they probably had control groups in here, is all things being equal, does the variable of the sleep pattern lead to a better or worse instance of diabetes or heart disease? I think that's where they would have been looking.
Because they're still taking a direct correlation, aren't they, between sleep and diabetes?
Yes, because that's what the research would have shown. There were some academics commenting on it. And basically that ranged from, this is a very useful addition to the body of evidence that tells us that sleep is important, or sleep patterns are important as far as type 2 diabetes or heart disease is concerned. And then the other views were, this really doesn't tell us very much, because we knew sleep was important already. So, if you pays your money, you take your choice. But I thought it was interesting, because I just thought sleep was more a matter of mood, effectiveness, avoiding injury if you're playing sport or something. I didn't make this thing.
No, what would be interesting here, was this in California, did you say?
No, the study was in Nangtong University.
No, sorry, the subject group.
I don't know. It was 23,000 adults who signed up to it.
I thought you said it was in America they were.
Yeah, the US.
Yeah, the US. So what would be quite interesting is to see if they took those and did a similar study in, say, China, which I'm surprised they didn't do it in China in the first place, given it was a Chinese university, to try and find out.
I did wonder that,
to try and find out whether there are, because there are other variable factors, clearly, and whether an area where there's low heart disease, say, for example, against an area where there's high heart disease, and see whether whether there's a difference in sleep patterns between the two areas, because then you could directly correlate sleep to heart disease or diabetes. But at the moment, it's like you're taking one area, where they all, I don't know. I don't know where that's what I was saying about California. I don't know whether they're all in one particular area.
No, I don't know. But all the research would do, I'm going way back to my good old statistical methods studying. But there'd be a lot of data in a survey of this size. It's huge, 23,000. It's huge. If you take opinion polls, they might often only have 1,000 respondents in the survey. So this is massive. They'll be looking at the incidence of diabetes, and they'll be looking at how that changes for groups that had good sleep patterns and not so good. And that would have been what they call their hypothesis going in, and the stats would be there to prove or otherwise. Because sometimes research can be good if it doesn't say anything. If it doesn't prove anything, that can be equally as valuable. But in this case, it did prove something.
So come on, you put me on the spot. What's your sleep pattern?
My sleep pattern, I go to bed very early. In fact, it's got earlier and earlier since COVID.
4 o'clock?
No. I like to be in bed by 9 p.m. I do catch up on about 10 minutes of screen time, socials, read the news headlines, and then I settle into my Kindle and probably read for about 15 minutes, and then I'm knocked out. And then I wake up during the week, I wake up around about 6 a.m. So that's me.
Yeah. Well, that's quite good, isn't it? I'm guessing that's, yes. Is that the same sort of, schedule that you used to follow when you were working, I guess, isn't it?
It's similar. And I slept less as I got older, like a lot of people do. Yeah. I'm not taking teenagers out of this because they need more sleep. Yeah. So if anything, I probably have 7.5, 8 hours sleep a night. And I might wake up a little bit later on a weekend, but then go to bed later. So, yeah.
So the message is?
The message is have a consistent sleep pattern. Try and get about 7.5 hours sleep. But most importantly, before you go to bed, try and detox away from screens other than a good read.
Night-night.
Night-night.